On my first day of college, my professor asked me, "Do you have your high school diploma?" I told my professor, "Sure, it's in my backpack with my Pokemon cards and my lunch money," with a goofy grin while finding a seat near the middle of the lecture hall. A handful of students snorted with laughter, and I felt that sweet validation of landing a decent joke. First day in college, and I was already the class clown. Professor Myers didn't even smirk, though. He stared at his computer screen and then looked back up at me with genuine confusion. "Could you tell me your name one more time?" "Blake Daniels," I repeated, even though I'd literally just said it when I walked through the door. He clicked around on his laptop, his eyebrows scrunching together. "I don't see Blake Daniels enrolled in Biology 101. You certain this is your assigned section?" The guy sitting behind me gave me that "yikes, you're screwed" expression. I pulled out the printed schedule I'd gotten at orientation, positive I had the right room. Monday, Wednesday, 9:30 a.m., Professor Myers, Science Building 340. This is 340, yeah? He came over to examine my schedule. Then he dropped a bomb that destroyed my entire world. "You should head to the registrar's office. There's something wrong with your enrollment." Every single student watched me pack up my stuff and leave. My cheeks were on fire. People were definitely already Snapchatting about the kid who couldn't even find the right class on day one. The registrar's office was chaos with panicked freshmen trying to add and draw courses. I stood in line for 45 minutes before finally getting to the front, where this exhausted-looking guy with a coffee stain on his shirt pulled up my file. My bio professor says I'm not on his list, but I registered for this class back in June. I showed him my orientation paperwork from the summer. He typed my name into the system and froze, then typed some more, and his face went pale. "Blake Daniels, according to this, you're not admitted to the university. That's impossible. I live in the dorms. I paid tuition. I went through orientation. I graduated from high school in May." My voice was cracking, and other students were definitely eavesdropping now. He rotated his monitor so I could see it. "The system shows you didn't graduate high school. We can't enroll students without their diploma." I actually laughed out loud because this was obviously some technical glitch. I walked at graduation. My whole family was there. I have pictures. He kept clicking through screens, looking more concerned with each click. "It says here you're missing your English credit. Failed senior year." My blood went ice cold. "No way. I had an A- in Mrs. Bitchener's class." "Check again." He pointed at the screen, and there it was clear as day. "Mrs. Bitchener's class, English 12 spring semester F." "This is impossible," I whispered. "I did all the work. Every essay, every reading quiz, every discussion post." The guy looked uncomfortable, like he'd delivered this kind of bad news before. "According to this, your grade was changed on July 31st. That's the last day teachers can submit grade modifications." Everything clicked into place with sickening clarity. Mrs. Bitchener had waited until the absolute last possible moment to fail me. After graduation ceremonies, after I'd moved into my dorm, after I'd told everyone I was going to college, she'd calculated exactly when to pull the trigger on ruining my life. "I missed 2 weeks of school," I said, my throat tight. "My little brother died. He drowned. He was 9. The registrar's expression got softer, but he still shook his head. "You'll need to contact your high school about this. Until it's resolved, I have to remove you from all your classes." But I showed Mrs. Bitchener everything. I continued desperately. The death certificate, the funeral program, notes from his oncologist. She said she understood. My voice was getting higher, and people in line were definitely recording this disaster on their phones. He printed out some forms about appealing grades and academic holds. "I'm truly sorry, but without that credit, you're not technically a high school graduate. So what exactly am I supposed to do now?" I asked. "You'll have to work with your high school to get the credit restored, or take a summer school course to make it up. Once you have your diploma, you can reapply for spring semester if you move fast." He handed me a thick packet of papers about readmission procedures. I stumbled out of that office in complete shock. Everyone I knew was finding their lecture halls and comparing professors and making friends in their dorms. Meanwhile, I was technically not even a high school graduate because some English teacher decided to torpedo my future over an absence she'd said she understood. My roommate was texting about getting lunch together. Kids from my floor were making plans for some freshman mixer tonight. I couldn't tell any of them the truth. Instead, I walked to the subway across from campus and sat in a booth with my readmission packet fanned out in front of me. The worker making sandwiches asked why I wasn't in class. "My English teacher failed me after my brother died," I heard myself say. "Changed my grade 2 months after school ended." She shook her head and gave me a free cookie with my sub and said that was messed up. I spent my first day of college in a subway booth Googling whether there was any legal recourse against a teacher for grade manipulation. Apparently there isn't, but I was going to find a way to make Mrs. Bitchener regret this. Man, she really lived up to his name.